Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new episode of I Am with Calent Size. Today we have a very special guest, Sensei Joseph Wong from the one and only Samwak Nimpo School. Welcome to the studio, Joseph, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Kelly.
I have taken some class with you, and I find that they are very enjoyable. Now, for our audience that don't know anything about Nimpo or Nanjitsu, can you please tell us a little bit what is this concept and what is Nimpo or Nanjitsu? Is there any difference between these two words?
Sure. Ninjutsu is simply the art of the ninja. It's what they train in ancient medieval Japan. It's a very old art. The origins go all the way back to more than 900 years. Now, there is a difference between the terms ninjutsu and nimpo. Ninjutsu primarily refers to the physical arts, just moving about, whereas nimpo incorporates the mind, strategies, and as well as meditation and spiritualism. So, more accurately, we are studying nimpo.
That sounds great.
Oh yes, ninjutsu is very useful for self-defense because the ancient ninjas, they did not use their arts for competitions. They used it in life and death confrontations. If a technique did not work, they would be killed. So only the techniques that work are passed down to us today, and they've all been battlefield tested. So yes, it definitely works.
So, wait a minute. With the first description that you told me about ninja, ninjutsu, it's a technique to teach people how to become invisible, how to disappear, or is a technique to tell people to be aware of the next hit?
Yes, well, certain aspects of the art are no longer emphasized now, like invisibility in a puff of smoke or how to hide. It's not very useful for the modern practitioner to learn how to scale walls or infiltrate castles. So nowadays the emphasis is upon self-defense, the combat elements of the art.
Can you get better explanation about this? I'm pretty sure our audience have a better picture with that description than what is this about. So, did this art have any kind of weapon?
Yes, that aspect of the movie magic with ninjas and such is actually true. We do train in dozens upon dozens of different weapons.
Can you show us? I'm pretty sure our audience is dying to see some example.
Well, we have the whole gamut of weapons. We have something simple like staffs and sticks, but it goes all the way to exotic weapons like iron fans, throwing stars, chain weapons, and even a rope with a dagger attached. So it's a whole gamut.
Great. Are you gonna, yes or no, showing some example of this weapon?
Oh yes, well, nowadays some of the easier ones to show are like swords and such, but they also have sticks, knives, all sorts of chain weapons, flexible weapons, which are actually very useful to learn. Modern days, a lot of weapons we cannot take to the streets, unfortunately, because it's illegal. So what we learn with all these weapons is to learn to recognize the tools in our environment and improvise them so we can use them as weapons if we need to, instead of carrying them around with us.
Excellent. I think this is some of the weapons that you are talking about right now. It is possible for us or for our audience to see this. Can you?
Oh, of course, certainly. This is a wakizashi. It means a side armament.
Woo!
And it's sharp, yes. And it's used to as a short sword.
Can you show a little bit to the
Oh, of course.
closer that they
It's
can
a
see
short sword.
probably that direction. Excellent.
So these are held with one hand, and it's to supplement the armament of a warrior, and it's worn normally with the long sword as well.
Okay, I saw of course, this is a very delicate weapon. It's not something that you can be using as a normal. It's not a pen, right? So we have to be very careful with this kind of weapon. And I see the way that you take it off. So this is a part of the technique that
Oh, yes.
and the training people get, right?
Right. Since this is a combat art, we're taught not just how to use it after it is unsheathed, we're taught actually how to unsheath it and use it and then resheath it. And some of the techniques we actually use with the sheath still on. If you don't have time to fully draw it out, you can still fight with the sheath on until you have the distance and range to unsheath it.
Okay, I'm pretty sure you guys are dying to know more about this interesting art, which is ninjutsu, and also about how to use those weapons. So stay there. We're gonna go for a little bit commercial. So we have coming back, of course. We're not gonna go away without giving the right answer and cover a little bit of those questions that are running around like monkey in your head. Are those weapons, most of them, legal? Are people able to have those weapons legally?
It depends on this jurisdiction, but since we're in California, yes, many weapons you may own as long as they don't take it out onto the streets. But there are some weapons which is not legal to even own. For example, shurikens. Everyone knows what ninja shurikens. You may not take them on the street, but you also may not own them. Also like knives, which are inside pens or on belt buckles. Concealed, disguised knives are not legal not only to carry on the streets, but not legal even to own. And so there are exceptions to every rule, but that's the general rule. You should check your jurisdiction to see what you can carry with you or even own. Many of the stores know they cannot sell these things, and so like in California, you cannot buy a shuriken or a pen knife. And even if you try to order them like on Amazon, they say these are restricted and they will not mail it to your zip code or to your state.
Some of these weapons required by law some kind of license, like the person, in order before to buy it, like the store gonna say, give me your license.
No, generally, if it's not legal, they do not give you a license. Unless you're like a martial arts school or something, then they may give you an exception, but even then, it depends on the school, so maybe more difficult. That's why I mentioned earlier that we like to teach all the different weapons so you can improvise a weapon. Instead of using a pen, this knife disguised as a pen, simply use a pen. Pens are legal, not only to own, of course, but to carry on the streets. You can even take them onto the airplane. We have like a 3-foot staff, which one of the first weapons we learned. We cannot carry that on the street because it is a combat staff. However, you may carry a cane onto the street. You don't need even a doctor's permit to carry a cane. Umbrellas, golf clubs, all these things are improvised, and you can use it in place of the 3-foot staff.
Now, very important. Let's make a pause here because since they are talking about some stuff that might sound familiar to you, a pen, an umbrella, and all of this, but we're not talking about the common umbrella or the common pen, right, Sensei?
Oh no, even a common pen, a plastic one, if you use it correctly, may be used to defend yourself effectively. Same with an umbrella. Instead of hitting someone with the umbrella, you may poke them and keep them at bay, like keeping away a wild animal with a chair. Use the same concept, and you may protect yourself from an attacker.
Okay, so that means that it doesn't have to be a ninja weapon umbrella or a ninja weapon pen.
No,
It
not
could
at
be your daily use.
Exactly.
For those who don't know how to use this,
Right.
this is a very important information. Spoiler alert!
Exactly. Yeah, so there are many things you can find laying around. Even a belt, you may take it off and use it instead of the chain weapon. You just wrap a person up with that, you can subdue a person nicely. So there are many things you can use all around you if you learn to keep your eyes open, be aware. You can use many of the items, legal items around you as improvised weapons to help save your life.
Right. So he mentioned just now a belt. Even a belt can be used. So now, Sensei, can you please tell us how many belts are in the ninja and the ninjutsu rank? Like how many belts the person have to go through in the education rank to achieve the goal to say, I am a ninja person today?
Well, generally nowadays in the European and Western world, we have 10 lower degrees. So it goes from Q, 10Q, all the way to 1Q. And after that comes the black belt, the Dan. And so you have to go through 10 of the preliminary Q levels, beginner levels, before you reach the black belt level. But originally in the old days, they don't give, like in the ninja of they don't give different color belts. You don't see ninjas running around with purple belts or red belts. They're just given the rank.
The knowledge.
Yes, exactly.
The skill, right?
Exactly.
The knowledge, the skill. So if you think that having a belt, a purple, a red, a yellow, whatever, that means anything, that doesn't mean anything. That's just theories. It's very important. So they need to go through 10 different rank, right? Am I saying right?
Yes, rank, that's correct, yeah.
Okay, to go to the black belt, which is already considered a professional ninja person. So how many years we talking about here? This is like in a school process, like 1 year is one belt.
Generally, it really depends on the practitioner. If they really attend a school regularly and practice at home, which is important, then they can achieve one rank every 3-4 months or so. So in order to go through to the black belt level, it'll take over a year.
Over a year.
At least, yes.
So a person can go to the black belt level since the beginning, and 1 year if the person concentrate in his or her classes and pass all of the other levels during this year process. We're talking about 12 months, 18 months.
Probably, if it's 3 months for one level and there are 10 levels, so 30 months. So probably 2 years and a half if they go really trained, dedicated.
Well, that's a great information because many of the other martial arts that I know about, they take a lot of longer process. Like I know people, they pass 6-7 years. It's like a university, and then you say we're living in today's day life with so much pressure, with so much personal stuff, with so much business relation stuff that we need to really care about and think about that we want to really concentrate and have some kind of level of skill in a specific martial art like ninjutsu, which is inside. And I tell you, the amount of knowledge, the amount of skill that you got, it doesn't have comparison with other martial arts, because many of the other martial arts take a lot of years to go from one simple skill to another. And basically, I know many students get out frustrated because they never got to the black belt, because they never got all of the knowledge they have to get, and for many other reasons. So I'm telling you, you can be overwhelmed by the amount of knowledge the sensei can give you, that you can get from Ninpo class, from ninjutsu class, that if you have the time to do this, you're gonna become an amazing ninja person, right? I'm not exaggerating here. I'm telling you the truth because I've been in, and I know it's a lot. You don't have a life to digest how much information and how much skill and knowledge you can get from that. So, Sensei, tell me a little bit of this. If the ninja class are for a specific age, how old can a person be to get in, or where the time is stopped to not get in?
Right. Originally, since this was used as a combat art, children start at the age of 5 and they already learn the basic foundations of the art. But there is no end. You can start as old as you want, as young as you want. Anyone can learn and gain something from this art.
The reason why I ask you that question is because I know it's a lot of physical activity involved, and it's also an art. It's a combined with an intellectually and with your soul. So it's a lot, but it's any way that a person think like it. In my case, I'm missing some of my cartilage, and there are certain things that I consider my own that I have to be a little bit more careful to do. There's somebody who is 20 years and have all the bones in place and all of the cartilage in place than the other one. But I know many people are a little bit mature, a little bit older, want to have this card because it's so peaceful. When you are inside the Ninpo class, talking for my own experience, it is nothing else in your mind during this process, during this moment when you are taking this training. It's like very relaxing. You get out totally it's like you wearing a different clothes. You get in and you change all of you. And then you forgot, or you don't remember, or you don't care about nothing out this when you are in this class. So I know that's gonna be very helpful for many people, no matter the age, but it's important to know it is a limit or no. Does the person need to have any specific physical condition to be
No.
athletic?
Not at all. Since this is a combat art, let's say in the ancient days, you have an elderly woman walking on the street and she gets attacked, or the samurai think that she is a ninja. She must learn to fight against and be able to defend herself against people who are younger, stronger, faster, and even multiple opponents. So because in actual combat, there are no weight categories. They can't say, hey, you cannot fight me. You're 300 pounds, I'm only 150, different weight category, go pick on someone else. No, they will come after you, possibly because they know they outclass you, or they have friends, they overwhelm you. So you are able to defeat them using the skills of Ninpo, because you don't rely on your physical strength. You don't go against arm strength against his arm strength, because you would lose. So we teach you how to use angling, distancing, and body dynamics. When we strike, we don't just strike with our arm, because it's only like a few pounds. We strike with the whole body behind it, so you use your entire 160 or whatever, 170 pounds against the opponent. And you use opponents distancing against each other, so you can outwit and outmaneuver the opponents. So no, it's absolutely essential that you're able to defeat person, even if you're injured or older, using the proper tactics and techniques.
Great. You use very good words that came out through a question to my head. You mentioned about, the weight, and you don't wanna run away because somebody is 160 pounds and you are just 120, because there's a lot of techniques that you can use here. For example, what are the philosophy on fighting in a nimble area when we're talking about wind, fire, all of this? Because I'm pretty sure that's that are some of the techniques that if people know about it, say, great, that doesn't exist also in another martial arts thing, and also in another sport, like for example, boxing. They have to be basically the same way and stuff like this, right? And they look in the level of comparison of level of high and short and all of this. There's so many details that people evaluate to compete. But basically, and then Giselle, tell me a little bit about this.
About like the elements and such? Yes, that's why we call it Ninpo rather than ninjutsu. We also incorporate the mind, thoughts, and the feelings and emotions. Not everyone's treated the same, and you cannot expect to behave the same way you would in the school, fighting or practicing against your partner. When you're now confronted in a dark alley with people with broken bottles and they want to really hurt you, you have a different mindset. You cannot say, oh, I'm going to do exactly what I did in the school, because now you're mentally challenged. You have a different mindset. You have fear, adrenaline, and you're worried that true bodily harm will come to you. Whereas in the dojo, in the school, you don't have this concern. So we do teach you how to use your emotions in different ways to help you in situations like that. You mentioned earlier there are different elements of fire, wind, earth, water. Those are different mindsets. When you use water, you want to avoid a person, escape their attacks, and then crash back into them like a wave, moving away and going in. They cannot grasp the water, but the wave can knock them over. Wind is moving in a circular motion, again, avoiding and then blowing back in. And that's used, also those two, wind and water, is primarily used if you're rather scared of the person. Earth is used for standing your ground. Don't move, and that's useful like if you have to protect your child. You cannot let the person get to your kid, or you have to give time for someone to escape. You stand your ground and you just take a grounded attitude, immovable, and you fight the person that way. Fire is if you believe you can overwhelm the person, you go on the attack and beat them off, scare them away if you have to. And so all of these different mindsets you use according to how you truly feel at that time in the actual confrontation.
Right. Is any of this technique being used by the military? Do you know?
Yes, actually my instructor was asked to teach the military as well as the FBI and law enforcement. And so the Grand Master in Japan is the chief unarmed hand-to-hand combat instructor for the Tokyo Police Department. So yes, they know the importance and the efficiency of these arts, and they ask us to go teach them.
Is there being used here in United States? Do you know?
Oh yes, my instructor is here, so he was asked to go to police departments or FBI headquarters and teach them and show them what he has. So yeah, they're used here by local law enforcement and all across the country.
Great. We know by experience that Sensei Joseph is in his mind, in his heart, he had this feeling, this mindset that reproduced his skill, his knowledge to many people, because he had been doing it for a lot of years, and in the last 3-4 years that we have connect with him, we know he do it from the inside out with all his heart and with no other interest that transmit to the humanity this amazing skill, which is the Ninpo ninjutsu. For many people, they have the interest to learn from. Tell a little bit about this new school. Where it's located, from what age to what age, who are welcome to it?
Yes, it's in Woodland Hills right now. The ages go from age 5 all the way to adult. So everyone's welcome to come and join the school, take a look at it, and enroll.
Would you want to share with our audience the address of Woodland Hill for that school, how people can look at it, maybe on internet, maybe on social media, maybe on YouTube, or where our audience can get this information and go right there if you are any interested in this beautiful art.
Oh, if you can just maybe print it here, it'd be useful as a subtitle, then they can go, and I'll give the number as well as the location, and they can just visit anytime.
Great, he is making decision on my show. So I'm gonna leave you the information for the school and in a box below that you can get the address, how to get to San Juan Dojo that is ubicated in Woodland Hill. Sensei, anything else that you wanna add for the audience to know?
Well, I'm often asked by new students if they can learn one technique, what would that be to save their life?
Right.
And the answer may surprise you, but my answer is to learn how to fall. Because you might be lucky enough to go through all your life and never have to fight, never have to confront someone, have an altercation, but you will always fall. Even a child could fall down, and especially for older senior citizens, falls often lead to their deaths. So if you learn how to fall, you be in good stead. I had a classmate who was 11 years old, 6th grade, and he was just taking Ninpo for just a few months. But the first thing we teach is how to fall, how to roll. He was coming down the stairs kind of carelessly in line with the rest of his class, and he slipped on the top of the stairs. It was a concrete stairwell all the way down, and he fell. And everyone was gasping. The teacher thought for sure he would have a broken tooth, if not worse. But he immediately went to a roll. A series of rolls, landed on the bottom of the stairwell, stood up, and he was perfectly fine except for a few bruises on their arms because of the concrete stairs. But there has been several stories of these people who have been saved in real life and that I know of in my school due to learning how to roll.
Right.
So that I would say would be the most number one important thing, how to take a fall and survive it, because you might not get into a fight ever, but you will fall.
Right. And if you are not a cat, you probably don't know by nature how to fall. So this is one of the recommendations that has Sensei here for a human skill survive. Learn how to fall, how to roll, how to do all of this. And all of this you can learn it from the San Juan Dojo in Woodland Hill with the class from Sensei. Sensei, I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you so much again for come to the studio. And also, I think we're gonna see you again. There's a lot of information that I'm pretty sure we can get it in just one tape.
I'll be glad, and thanks for having me to come over.
Thank you, Sensei. And for all of you, my lovely audience, besitos. I see you at the next one. Bye for now.